Steve from Minecraft is an absolutely absurd character when it comes to physical prowess. No question about it. He can swim up waterfalls, punch holes through trees, and carry absolutely ludicrous amounts of weight. Dormunster demonstrates this excellently in Minecraft is Intense, and Matt Tat demonstrates how absurd Steve is just by carrying stuff in his video about diamond blocks or something. Can't remember. Anyways, this video is about something else. And if you couldn't tell from the title, the question of the day is, how fast is Steve? This came from me wandering through the world of Minecraft and realizing I crossed a kilometer much faster time than I thought I should have. And then I thought to myself, well, let's make a video calculating Steve's speed. Now to do this, it is relatively straightforward. Minecraft is a world literally defined by meters that are cubed, or cubed meters, I guess. And there is a hotkey in the game that lets you know how many meters away you are from the center of the world. So using these distance measuring tools, without having to convert height measurements and comparing the relative size of oak trees, I can simply just run a certain amount of distance, time it, and then calculate the speed from that. Then, once we've gone back through high school math and science, we will be able to find the answers we want. So I made a 1,000-meter long running track on Superflat and got a speedrunning stopwatch and just started measuring. Now, right away, several things struck me about doing this experiment and then doing the calculations afterwards. One of the things that struck me is 1,000 meters takes a long time to walk, and it's also hard to walk in straight lines in Minecraft. You think it'd be relatively easy, but you start going a little bit off kilter, and then you miss your finish line and it messes with your speeds. It's kind of awful. Also, I realized that this would be a relatively short video if I only measured walking speed of Steve. So I came up with a whole bunch of more things to measure, like sprinting speed, swimming, walking on soul sand, and that sort of thing. I also shortened the running track to 100 meters, which is good enough. For some things, I still used 1,000 meters because it felt right, but 100 meters is just a lot shorter and saves so much time. Also, the calculations come out basically the same. You just have to do the math a little bit differently, and it's not even that much. So I went out and recorded all the data, then calculated it, and the results are surprising. I actually had to double check a few times because the numbers were just too hard to believe. I was expecting high numbers, but not this high of numbers. Now, I don't want to be misleading with that. They're not absolutely absurd, but they're just not what I expected. So, without further ado, I guess I will reveal how fast Steve is. His walking speed comes in at 15.5 kilometers per hour. That's his walking speed. Not his running speed, not his sprint jumping speed, just ordinary walking. I'm going for a stroll, smelling the flowers. Hey, I'm walking here, forget about it. For comparison, most humans' walking speed is around 5 kilometers per hour. Steve is walking literally 3 times faster than that of a normal human. It's absurd. Also, what's absurd is it doesn't even feel all that fast. But there is even stranger things to come than that. So what about his sprinting speed? Is he rocketing along at 30 kilometers an hour, 40 kilometers an hour? No, it's just 20 kilometers an hour. It's a 30% speed increase from just walking, and don't get me wrong, 20 kilometers an hour is not slow, but sprinting doesn't feel like you're going 30% faster. It feels like 50 at least. But what's also weird is when you look at humans' average sprinting speed is around 25 kilometers an hour. Well, this is the average of people that get out to get their sprinting measured. It's still not that far off from you and me. So we can just knock 5 kilometers off that speed and set them to 20 kilometers an hour, and still a person's sprinting speed is 400% increase. It's 400% faster than their walking speed. Well, Steve only gets a measly 30% increase. Sprint jumping does improve Steve's speed to a snappy 25 kilometers an hour. This also brings Steve's speed to the equivalent of an average human athlete sprinting, and as an added bonus, Steve can keep this up for around 940 meters, whereas most people have trouble going after they've covered the normal 100-meter sprint. So he can just keep it going. His sprinting style is insane. So his flying speed, which can only be achieved in creative mode, is even better than sprint jumping, and increases your speed to a nice 39 kilometers an hour. If you're flying that fast and you're not indestructible, then colliding with objects would really hurt, so be thankful that you are in literal god mode. Now rail carts are a much different story when it comes to speed. You only travel around 5.2 kilometers an hour, which is relatively close to average human walking speed, which is weird because it feels really slow to be in an unpowered rail cart in Minecraft. But that's just how fast we walk, which I don't understand. There must be something psychological going on there. The power rail will launch you along at 27 kilometers an hour, and a minecart with a boat inside it, it's this weird glitch you can do anyways, is about the same speed as power rails. And that's a good speed, 27 kilometers an hour. Like, that's going on a bike downhill for your average person. Now from rails to ice. Walking on ice and sprinting on ice are both slightly slower than just normal walking and normal sprinting. The walking coming in at 14.8 kilometers an hour, and the sprinting coming to 19 kilometers an hour. But sprint jumping on ice sets you up to 33.33 kilometers per hour, which is just nutty, being over 100% faster than normal walking and being 30% faster than normal sprint jumping. Sprint jumping with a roof? Okay, so I was completely wrong here on this fact, because apparently you have to spam the space bar to get the actual speed bonus, where I was just holding it down. After doing some quick calculations, the speed comes out to about 46 kilometers per hour. However, my mistakes will have knock-on effects throughout the rest of the video, so please do ignore anything else I talk about having a roof over your head and sprint jumping, besides some of the fun little tidbit facts. Anyways. Now once the ice has melted, walking in water that's a meter deep makes you crawl along at 6.96 kilometers per hour, which is still faster than a person walking. And the swimming speed is 14.12 kilometers per hour, which beats the highest of Olympic swimmers that can reach around 9 kilometers per hour. So suck it, Michael Phelps. Soul Sand brings your speed down to about 9 kilometers per hour, and while sprinting, you reach only 11.8. Also, at this point onwards, I'm just going to say the numbers and assume that I'm talking about kilometers per hour unless I say otherwise. Now, Soul Sand is interesting because of how much it slows you down by. It's not a very straightforward number. After doing some rudimentary testing, it decreases your speed by 73%, which, it makes sense, it feels really slow, but I didn't find it came around to 75. It might be that, but I did quite a bit of testing and my numbers never really seemed to come out to that. Who knows? I could be wrong though. There's still human error all over the place in these tests. Potions of Swiftness, which increase your speed by 20% per level, according to the description, do, in fact, make you 20% faster. So, Swiftness 1 sets your walking speed to 18.63 and sprinting to 24.1. Now, Swiftness 2 is where these numbers start to get interesting. At this point, sprinting is actually faster than sprint jumping when you're under the effects of Swiftness, setting walking speed to 21.6, sprinting speed to 27.95, and sprint jumping speed to 27.73. Now, it should be at 35.9 kilometers per hour, being 40% faster. However, because the way that sprint jumping works to make you actually go faster, when you have a 40% speed increase, it loses the special property that makes it go at the rate it goes, and normal sprinting becomes faster. I want to get into this, but I think I will have to do that in another video. I am not exactly sure how to do the calculations for it. We also see this take effects when sprint jumping on ice with Swiftness 2. You should be going about 46.7 kilometers per hour, but the actual speed you are going at is 33.7. With a roof over your head, it actually makes you go a little bit faster, but it's still not good enough. You should be reaching very high speeds, but you only reach 39.3 kilometers an hour. Now this is quite good. It's faster than Usain Bolt, but it's not in the 50 kilometers per hour range it should be. It doesn't even break 40. Still, again, the properties are at play of you not having as much air time. So the roof actually decreases the amount of time you're in the air, which for some reason it helps with sprint jumping on ice. And I'm not exactly certain why, but I will try to make a video about that in the future. Now on to the opposite spectrum of potions. Potions of slowness decrease your speed. Slowness 4 says it'll decrease your speed by 60%, and in fact does decrease your speed by 60%, making your walking speed go at a measly 6.2 kilometers per hour. And if you add soul sand into the mix, then you actually end up finally below a human's walking speed, bringing you to 3.6 kilometers per hour, which feels so slow. That's a slow amble for a person, and just thinking about that makes my skin crawl, how slow it took me to, just how long. Ugh. Now, crouching, well slowed in soul sand, I didn't do as I have a life to live, and that could have taken years. Boats bring you up to 27.8 kilometers per hour, which is, like most things in Minecraft, faster than the real world. Rowboats on Earth, that are just your run-of-the-mill rowboat, bring you to a nice 6.5 kilometers per hour, and the ones really built for speed, still one person, only get up to 13 kilometers per hour, which still are nowhere near the almost 30k square speedboats that Steve is moving with his massively jacked square arms. However, when it comes to one of the fastest means to travel in Minecraft, it's hard to beat a boat on ice. These go very, very fast, managing to get all the way up to 86.96 kilometers per hour. That's 54 miles per hour. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. They teach you that instead of basic first aid. There are more ways, though, that boats make you go fast. Now, there is a method of travel. I've coined the meme boat, which brings you up to a snappy 25 kilometers per hour, while going in the Mark 1, and the Mark 2, which is after it is built, brings you to almost 50 kilometers per hour. Unfortunately, both of these things are only one-way travel, but they are pretty amusing. Pigs can manage a nice 14.46 kilometers per hour. Horses can go at about 26, and striders go 22.5497332101. These speeds, of course, are being ridden by Steve. However, that actually doesn't seem to have much of an impact on the animals of him being on them or not, as everything in this world seems to be able to carry over 20 times their body weight. Well over. Now, striders aren't real, and pigs don't really race or get their speed measured, but horses do. And like in life, Minecraft horses' speed vary on the breeds and from horse to horse. But on average, overall, Minecraft horses are slower than the real world horse, which is kind of weird compared to the contrast of basically everything else. Now, I know that the animals don't count as Steve, but it's how fast is Steve going, as well as riding them, so I decided to keep it in. I did measure a zombie's speed, but that's not Steve, so that got axed. Now, a few extra fun things is I measured Steve's ability to climb ladders, and he can go up ladders at 8.42 kilometers per hour, or putting it better, I think, for going up things, he can climb at 2.34 meters per second. He can also swim up a waterfall at 1.95 meters per second, or 7 kilometers per hour, which is not only faster than you walking, but is also technically impossible. So this dude is breaking the laws of physics and being better than you at the same time. And finally, elytras, which are very hard to measure, as their speed varies and they can dive and zoom and go across distances. And anyways, I managed to measure what I got on my running track at about 180 kilometers per hour. Now, hang gliders on Earth, which I kind of consider equivalent, their max speed is about 130 kilometers per hour, which is a little slower, 50 kilometers per hour slower than the Elytra. And squirrel suits, which I didn't know are insanely fast, still only reach around at max 160 kilometers per hour. I know for a fact that I didn't max out Elytra speed. I know I can go faster than 180 kilometers. I wouldn't be surprised if it got to around 260 or more, and this is just on a straightaway. Diving, who knows how fast you could go. I also decided I want to try test gravity, but it was hard, and I went back and did it again just to make sure my numbers were right for the initial measurements, and they were. I didn't quite remember how to measure gravity, so I had to ask my dad and went through a bit. It took me a long time, and I think that my numbers were pretty good until I got to around trying to fall 100 meters, because I think Minecraft's terminal velocity kicks in a lot sooner than Earth's. But what I did find, and this is definitive, is not only does Minecraft have gravity, so you do accelerate while you're falling, but it is stronger than Earth's. I think it's over twice as strong. The measurements I got was 25 meters per second squared. So that is a lot of gravity. I think that number is pretty accurate, but the numbers got a little confusing. Anyways, Minecraft's gravity is at least twice that of Earth's. So you fall faster than we do, and also the whole world's just heavier. So that's something else to consider. So, in conclusion, not only is Steve a god of mighty strength and is incredibly tough, he is also insanely fast and travels around at high speeds without worry. Speeds that would kill a normal human with the amount of protection they have on. He's a beast. An absolutely fast beast. And just remember, Steve's walking is probably as fast as you can sprint, given the demographics that you're either a nerd or a child watching this video on video games about math. It's just simple statistics. Like, you're not going to be the most physically fit person, probably. I could be wrong, but still, 15 kilometers an hour isn't a bad sprinting speed for an amateur. And Steve, that's just his walking speed. Just his walking speed. Anyways, and until next time, thank you all very much for watching, and goodbye. And if you like this video, consider supporting it by subscribing so you can catch me whenever I'm doing more wacky video game videos. And if you liked the video, then drop a like. It's just a button press. It's not that much work. And it does help smaller channels with their SEO scores. Comment if you want, say I'm cool or say I'm wrong, whatever it is. And the thing I really want to push for with this end spiel of begging you to do stuff is consider checking out my Patreon. I reckon that at least 1% of my subscribers are in position to be a patron on Patreon. I mean, they don't have to be, but that's just my guess. And so at current moment, that means about only 12 of you need to go there. Just 12 of you need to go there and check it out. That just make me happy. It's just you look it over. It would be really cool if you would do that. Now, I know the rewards aren't all that great, but maybe if you consider signing up for it, then you could come up with better ones with me in the fancy VIP of my Discord, which you would get from becoming a patron. Anyways, now that I'm done with that spiel and feeling slightly dirty, thanks again, and have a wonderful day, or evening, or night. Goodbye.